Since the day JFK was shot in Dallas, political assassinations have haunted America. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Robert F. Kennedy, George Wallace, Ronald Reagan. Every decade, violence has stalked our leaders, and now, in 2025, it's happened again. Charlie Kirk executed on stage in front of a college crowd. This isn't about isolated events. It's about a pattern America keeps pretending doesn't exist, a pattern that connects JFK's death to Kirk's and reveals how our country has unraveled in the 60 years between them. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how these assassinations aren't just tragic stories, they're warnings. Warnings about what happens when trust collapses, when institutions fail, and when Americans turn on each other. Welcome, I'm Roman, and this is Common Sense Ain't Common, where every week I aim to uncover the crimes, scandals, and failures that prove America has lost its way and why it may not survive if we keep ignoring the obvious. Let's get into it. Let's start with November 22nd, 1963, 12:30 p.m., Daley Plaza, Dallas. President Kennedy's motorcade turns onto Elm Street. 3 shots ring out. The president slumps forward. Jackie Kennedy climbs across the trunk of the limousine. "They've killed my husband," she shrieks. Within 78 minutes, Lee Harvey Oswald is arrested. 2 days later, Jack Ruby shoots Oswald dead on live television. Case closed, right? Not exactly. This is where America's relationship with truth began to die. Here's what should have been obvious. When the leader of the free world is assassinated, the government should investigate with full transparency, release every document, answer every question, restore public confidence through honesty. Instead, secrecy became the strategy. The Warren Commission, 7 men handpicked by Lyndon Johnson, spent 10 months investigating. Their conclusion? Oswald acted alone. The magic bullet theory. Case closed. But public opinion told a different story. In 1963, just after the assassination, 29% of Americans believed in a conspiracy. By 1966, it had jumped to 50%, and today, 61% believe multiple people were involved in killing JFK. Now, some may ask why. Because when a government hides evidence, people rightfully assume it's hiding the truth. In 1992, nearly 30 years after the assassination, Congress passed the JFK Records Act, requiring all documents be released by 2017. But by the time 2017 rolled around, thousands of records were kept sealed at the urging of the CIA and FBI. President Biden delayed another release in 2021, 60 years later, and we still don't have the full story about our own president's murder. Here's the hard question though. If Oswald acted alone, if there was no conspiracy, if the Warren Commission got it right, why are the documents still hidden in 2025? The answer is uncomfortable. Admitting the truth would expose just how badly Americans' institutions failed, and that amongst other things that we may never know. The Secret Service left Kennedy exposed in a slow-moving convertible through hostile territory. The FBI had Oswald on their radar, but missed his plan. The CIA, running operations against Castro, conveniently forgot to mention their own assassination plots during the investigation. Every institution failed, and instead of accountability, we got cover-ups. This created what I call the JFK precedent. When American institutions screw up, they don't fix the problem, they bury it and discredit anyone who asks questions. Watergate, same playbook. Iran-Contra, same playbook. WMDs in Iraq, same playbook. NSA surveillance, same damn playbook. The JFK assassination didn't just kill a president, it shattered America's ability to trust its government. Alright, now let's fast forward 60 years. September 10th, 2025, Utah Valley University. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, conservative activist, political commentator, is speaking to a crowd of students about transgender issues and mass shootings. At 12:23 p.m., a single shot cracks from 200 yards away. Kirk is struck in the neck. He would later be pronounced dead in a nearby hospital. The shooter is found to be Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old college student with radicalized views. living with a transgender roommate who he was also said to be dating. But here's what the case reveals. In 1963, Americans were horrified that political violence could happen here. We still believed in debate over bullets, and democracy over assassination. By 2025, political violence wasn't shocking anymore. It seemed almost expected. The data proves it. According to the FBI, threats against public officials increased 300% between 2016 and 2024. The Department of Homeland Security called domestic extremism the most lethal threat inside the United States. And when Kirk was murdered, the country didn't unite in outrage. Instead, people split into tribes. Conservatives blame radical leftist indoctrination. Liberals blame right-wing rhetoric. No one asked the deeper question. How did we get to a point where Americans murder each other over politics? Robinson's story lays it bare. According to court documents, he spent months in online echo chambers, consuming content that dehumanized conservatives. His Discord chats joked about assassination, with references to video games and memes, treating murder as entertainment. This is what happens when violence stops being unthinkable and starts feeling like just another option. Even worse, Robinson's alleged motive tied back to Kirk's criticism of transgender ideology. So in other words, a man killed another human being not over war or geopolitics, but because his feelings about identity were challenged. In 1963, Oswald's motives were tied to communism and the Cold War. In 2025, Robinson allegedly killed over personal grievances. That's the shift. From geopolitical assassination to therapeutic assassination, from killing over nations to killing over pronouns. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said Robinson had been deeply indoctrinated by leftist ideology. But what he didn't say is this: Robinson represents a generation taught that words are violence, disagreement is oppression, and emotional comfort is more important than life itself. The FBI later reported inscriptions on Robinson's unused shell casings. Memes, jokes, even slurs. It was murder as a meme, proof that political violence has been trivialized into entertainment. So what connects Dallas 1963 to Utah 2025? It's the slow breakdown of trust. After JFK died, Americans mourned together. We demanded answers together. We still believe we were on the same team. After Kirk died, we split immediately into warring camps. Nobody came together to condemn violence itself. Instead, people fought over which side was to blame. That's the real story here. When trust in institutions collapsed after JFK, Americans stopped believing in shared truth. And once shared truth was gone, common ground disappeared too. Pew Research shows it clearly. 89% of Republicans and 83% of Democrats now say the other party is a threat to the nation, not an opponent, a threat. And when your neighbor becomes a threat, assassination stops being unthinkable. It starts to feel logical. This is how you get from Lee Harvey Oswald to Tyler Robinson, from a communist defector targeting a president to a college student targeting a commentator, from global politics to personal grievance. We have two assassinations, 60 years apart. In 1963, we lost a president and gained a conspiracy. In 2025, we lost a popular political activist and gained nothing, because we'd already lost trust, unity, and perspective long before the bullet was fired. We've lost the ability to trust our institutions. We've lost the ability to trust each other. We've lost the ability to distinguish between disagreement and oppression, between criticism and violence, between politics and war. But here's the truth. Perspective isn't dead, it's buried under 60 years of lies, polarization, and institutional failure. My mission is simple though. Dig it up, dust it off, show you what it looks like. Because if we don't, the future looks grim. More Dallas, more Utah, more Americans killing Americans until there is nothing left to fight for. History makes one thing clear. A nation that hides the truth about its leaders will eventually become a nation where citizens murder each other over ideology. The question is, do we still have the will to turn this around? My name is Roman, and this has been Common Sense Ain't Common. Peace and blessings, America. I believe we will make it.